development, and advancing Africa's agenda globally. It is also a recognition of his critical role in the infrastructural and socio-economic development of his country, as well as his people-friendly policies. He has continued to advocate for peace and free and fair elections in the ECOWAS sub-region, and this was demonstrated by a show of statesmanship and iconic posturing by accepting electoral loss and congratulating the winner. While he arguably had options as a sitting president, he chose the path of honor, peace, and the defense of democracy. His emergence reaffirms our position that he has remained one of the continent's leading light, as he had continued to demonstrate great faith in the African project, promoting African dignity and helping to change the negative narratives about the continent.
I know when you have a new government.
Before we could become journalists today, we are citizens. If there is no way that our country is safe, we cannot practice in our respective professions. When we are at war, pastors will not be respected to go to church to preach. When we are at war, medical doctors will not be able to go to hospitals except on a coercion or sanitary condition. When we are at war, lawyers will not be able to go to court to practice. That's why when you see these things happening, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are working a profession, you got to step down and protect your country so that that country will provide an avenue for you to be the kind of person that you want to be. And that's where we are now. What happened on yesterday was wrong. It's still wrong. And no matter what it is wrong. We are seeing things happening in this country, and people are now seeing it as being right because the Assad is there. And these are things that we got to be stand up. To be a patriot, you have to stand first on the side of the law, because the politicians will go away. The regime will pass away, but your country will stay. The law will stay. Your patriotism vow will continue to stay on. And these are things that we got to stand up for. It doesn't matter how people feel, what kind of side you want to be on. We just got to speak to the truth, and that is very much important.
They are believing. I see in the next few months a noisy country, a very noisy country, rowdy country, a heavily divided country, a very tough economy, a sense of elitism by those who are coming at the hem of authority. The coming in of the Unity Party is going to multiply the economic woes, the economic conundrum, the economic quagmire, the suffering of the Liberian people is going to multiply. We are not prophets of doom, but the reality will come.
Leaving to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals, and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. Leaving to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals, and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. Leaving to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals, and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. The presidency of this republic has been desecrated, and I'm hoping that will not continue in our vein. But I can say to anybody, it is our prayers that President Baka will go beyond 2029, and even 2039, he will go beyond that. It is our prayers and hope that the Almighty God will keep him, because they are agents. There are demons at the doors of this country that are willing to put this country back into a bloodshed. It is unconfirmed, but you know, our local language or parlance, people say, where there is smoke, it's likely that you see fire. Vice President Kun is trying to use undue influence, but we believe in the integrity of the court and those members of the bench, from the Chief Justice to all of the 4 associate justices. Those individuals are people with impeccable character, people of integrity, that you cannot ban it, you cannot do anything. We are calling on the Vice President to stop his undue influence. The law is the law, and you are not going to bend the law in any means.
Richard Kun is a representative. I'm a representative. Does he have the right to suspend me? Richard Kun is not the speaker. Or Richard Kun is not the speaker. No, we should not take Liberia back under the dustbin. If Richard Kun wants to be speaker, there are processes that lead people to becoming speaker. Fonati is still the speaker. Why we say if you do not want Fonati, come to Chimba, let's go through the due process, and you use your 49 to remove Fonati. That's all we ask for. Richard Kun is not a speaker. Any other leadership they have over there under the instruction, under Richard Kun instruction, I can tell you, that charade is a political charade. As soon as possible, everything will fall in place. But for all, we will use the law, and the law will be the law.
It's clear. Richard Kun is not the speaker of the house, and he can never be the speaker of the house. I will come here again on Thursday. I will disrupt until they can respect the Supreme Court ruling. People they are juntas. People are juntas. As long as they are behaving as juntas, I will keep dealing with them. I will come here again on Thursday. I will disrupt the place until they can respect the Supreme Court ruling. I was assaulted by my police and the Zion Army and other people. This place is where we're supposed to talk. I'm not talking somebody living with my car. I will be here again on Thursday. Expel me. They get authority, expel me. I will keep stating my umbrella to be respected. I will keep stating my unreadiness. This is where we're supposed to talk. Until the Supreme Court mandate can be respected. And the Supreme Court mandate will be respected. Where we're supposed to talk. Until the Supreme Court mandate can be respected. And the Supreme Court mandate will be respected. Until the Supreme Court mandate can be respected. And the Supreme Court mandate will be respected. Until the Supreme Court mandate can be respected. And the Supreme Court mandate will be respected. Until the Supreme Court mandate can be respected. And the Supreme Court mandate will be respected. Thursday, I come here, I will enter here again. That session, every day I will come and state my already. I have no regret. Look, we are lawmakers. We need to respect our laws.
Richard Kun can do better. Can do better to say, you know what? You're okay, you're trouble. Let me serve my people as representative. He's in a bad spot. Richard Kun is going down in history. Let a neglected, rejected, disowned speaker understand that Richard Kun is in a bad spot. If Richard Kun thinks that the people want him as speaker to solve the whole Wahala, he should open an election. If Richard Kun thinks he got 4357 individuals that are willing to support him to shut down for the Kofa and bring some respect to that house, Richard Kun should open a new election. He should step down and ask the people to go for election. It will end this whole Wahala. It will end this whole thing.
Some time ago, when we the national for the president address, they begin move of news and the address itself. That was the common way of trying to avoid getting involved in potential conflict. You remember the conflict going on at the House, the Supreme Court, when they appeared before us, we made a decision. And the effect of that decision was that, look, our law required that the House should have a quorum, and that quorum should be presided over by a speaker. Now that you, the quote-unquote majority black, have a quorum, but we don't see a speaker there. So whatever you do is ultra-viral. Otherwise, it's illegal. We turn to the minority black. The law says until you can get majority, you get quorum, you continue to adjourn from day to day and compare the other people to join. But there's no statute that tells you how you compare the people. You don't have a rule that tells you how you compare the people. So you two will remain there until you get majority. Whatever you do is ultra-viral. So on the both sides, the Supreme Court clearly saying that go and solve your problem. We don't have law to that effect. We are don't have own. We're not in control of politics. If for some reason the Senate decide to recognize majority black, President recognize majority black, and government function is going on.
Before we could become journalists today, we are citizens. If there is no way that our country is safe, we cannot practice in our respective professions. When we are at war, pastors will not be respected to go to church to preach. When we are at war, medical doctors will not be able to go to hospitals except on a coercion or sanitary condition. When we are at war, lawyers will not be able to go to court to practice. That's why when you see these things happening, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are working a profession, you got to step down and protect your country so that that country will provide an avenue for you to be the kind of person that you want to be. And that's where we are now. What happened on yesterday was wrong. It's still wrong, and no matter what it is wrong. We are seeing things happening in this country, and people are now seeing it as being right because the Asa is there. And these are things that we got to be stand up. To be a patriot, you have to stand first on the side of the law, because the politicians will go away. The regime will pass away, but your country will stay. The law will stay. Your patriotism vow will continue to stay on. And these are things that we got to stand up for. It doesn't matter how people feel, what kind of side you want to be on. We just got to speak to the truth, and that is very much important.
His Excellency, George Weah, President of Liberia. Our board noted that His Excellency's victory as the African Political Leader of the Year 2023 is a testament to his contributions to promoting peace, African culture and development, youth and sports development, and advancing Africa's agenda globally. It is also a recognition of his critical role in the infrastructural and socio-economic development of his country, as well as his people-friendly policies. He has continued to advocate for peace and free and fair elections in the ECOWAS sub-region, and this was demonstrated by a show of statesmanship and iconic posturing by accepting electoral loss and congratulating the winner. While he arguably had options as a sitting president, he chose the path of honor, peace, and the defense of democracy. His emergence reaffirms our position that he has remained one of the continent's leading light, as he had continued to demonstrate great faith in the African project, promoting African dignity and helping to change the negative narratives about the continent.
God Almighty never loses sight of himself, never renege on his promises. Everything he says about the earth, as well as the politics of the day, he never reneges. So it's the 26th day of March 2025. It's Real Talk. I'm Sam Andrews. Not only the information we've got, but we've got some dollars called 10,000. We've got 10,000 for the Midweek Tuesday. Start playing the King's Cash giveaway right now and start playing real good. Dial star 799 star 100 hatch and just put in 200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US and get your midweek 10,000. Wednesday 10,000. You don't want to disappoint. The money is yours to take and not ours to keep. Start playing right now. Dial star 799 star 100 hatch. Play with 200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US, and you have your 10,000. We got the issues as well as some dollars to give you. It's 10,000. 26th day. That's good. All right. Let's get started. Time is of the essence. Nakila Aramolba, you've come on from Salala, Lower Bon County. Matthew Choloplay, you are on. Asata Miller, you've come on from Red Light. You are following from Red Light. Soul Clinic Community, that's good. Yeah, Soul Clinic Community. Muya A. Sharif, you are on from Sophie Community. Congo Town. Alex Leon Senior from Chicken Soup Factory. Elton Pokoyu, you've on. Abdullah Duclay from Morovia. Matthew Endo from where? Okay. Emmanuel Kuye from David Dunningtown, Bon County. Nina Kuya, you on from your end. My dear Southeastern sister Dwighty, you are on. Good to have you on. Yes, I know that. Bapin Paul Lee, Johnsonville, Jay Tugbe, Paris Slobot from New Jersey, the United States of America. Jackson Pony of Iron Factory Block Titan, you are following the show alongside the chairman of Block Titan, Romantio Latupan, or Kennebor, as he's widely known. Thank you guys for coming on and switching on the show within the intellectual center of Iron Factory Block 13. Zobo Utobe, you are on. Yes, Vinicius Bar from New Crutan, Claude de Port, as it is called. Mohammed Prince Sonin Senior, all of you are on. Willem K. Sumawolo, my dear brother, thank you ever so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Hey, another Southeastern sister, Gladys Allison, you are on. Okay, yes, yes. I know what you are going through, Gladys. That's the technology. That's the technology. Sometimes we set everything to come on early, and then, bam, there is something. So that's the reason why, Clady, you are finding it a bit difficult to get me. I got your notification, but that's what we go through here in Liberia. The internet is bad off in Liberia. Electricity is bad off. Water, bad off. Everything just bad off. And it should not be a surprise to you people because we are in the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. Thank you all. We can go through all of the thousands of names flowing. I appreciate all of you choosing Kings 88.5 and Real Talk. Thank you so much. The names are just in their hundreds and moving on to thousands. We've got the issues to talk about. We've got some dollars to give you. 10,000 we are giving you. Start playing. The economy is hard, it's bad off. I don't like to be repeating myself on this. You know where we find ourselves right now in this country under the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, that his finance minister made it clear that the years ahead of us will be very difficult, and we've started to see the signs and feel the pinch of it. So we try the best we can in crisis to give you some dollars so that you know how to manage, because in every crisis you need money. You will need 10,000. We're giving you 10,000 today, 10,000 on the 26th day. We're giving you 10,000. You can take that 10,000 by just putting in 200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US, and then you dial *799 *100#, and then your 10,000. Play as many times as you can. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, it does not matter. What matters is the 10,000 that you need to have in your account is compulsory. So play as many times as you can, please. Time is very, very nasty in this country. Very terrible. We've got a couple of issues to talk about, and then we are out. It didn't work out as we had wanted it, so we can have our guests in at 4. The ruling or the hearing, the arguments at the Supreme Court alter that or change, and too many things are happening around there, so we can get the guests in at 4 o'clock. However, let's see how it plays out this week. If not, possibly next week. But the arguments at the Supreme Court on Speaker Kofa's Bill of Information change everything. All right. Where we get started, I know every one of you are so eager to hear the atmosphere from the Supreme Court. Yes. That is the training issue right now, the long awaited. Everybody had wanted this day, the 26th, to come. God made it clear that the 26th was coming, and the 26th came, and the atmosphere got underway. But hold on, let's talk something before that, because that would take most part of our discussion today. We have to put that in context and then move on to you. Let's start with our Islamic brothers and sisters. It is wrong in life to play the devil's advocate. The devil's advocate is the same as sycophancy, pretense, and on we can go. It is all but rational in life that you be honest, tell people what is what, even if they don't like it, but it is the reality, just as the people who say it has become a good cliche now, the law is the law. Tell them the truth because the truth is the truth. You can bend the truth. No. They are approaching the climax or the close of their fast and prayer. The president, Nebuchadnezzar, had a dinner with them. And there, one of the Islamic leaders and Lieutenant Kamara, together with his colleagues, are prevailing on the president, or they did prevail on the president for exclusive holiday in Liberia, meaning as they end the Ramadan or the fasting month, everybody should stop what they are doing on the day they are breaking their fast. The entire country should come to a standstill, and they go about to celebrate or climax their fast and prayer session. Interestingly, we do not have a preferential religious holiday in this country. I think we have discussed this thing over and over. It is not an issue to keep coming out. There is no preferential religious holiday in this country. All of the holidays are not religious or a specific religion holiday. No. 2, you don't need a specific holiday or holiday to climax fast and prayer. Fasting and prayer is solemn. It's not necessarily for showcasing or extravagant celebration. As far as we know, I am speaking as a Christian. That's what I know. I do not know about the people on the other side of the religious divide. But our Constitution does not call for a religious preference. That is why the country is a secular state, which means it incorporates all religions, systems, beliefs, and no one tramples upon the right of another religion. Therefore, it is my understanding that the call made by Lieutenant Kamara wasn't in the right direction. That will be putting our country back where already we are in a dire economic state. The country is on the brink of collapse economically. The little that is coming into the country or being generated, not sufficient for anything development. All of the developments of this government have come to a standstill because no money to fund them. If we have 24 hours, nothing happening, but just one group of people praying, we will be increasing the already damning economic situation we have. So I think my Islamic brothers and sisters can see reason to just do the normal prayer as you have always done. God in heaven sees and answers as we fast and pray. So you just want to do the usual clamors and focus on how and where the country goes in this kind of terrible period. Thank you all. You've done well. 1 month of fasting is not easy. I do not know whether I can fast for 1 day, least to say 2. I don't know I have ever done it, but I have listened and heard and seen people fast. And fast is solemn. It's a personal connection between the person who is fasting and God. To go 1 month is not easy. It's not an easy thing. So I can understand my Islamic brothers and sisters, what you went through 1 month. If I ever went 1 month, maybe that will be the end of St. Andrews on earth. It's not easy, I know, to fast And prayer is not easy. Even 3 hours, 4 hours, least to talk about 24 hours and 2 days and 3 days and 5 days. You did extremely well. You have gotten accustomed to it. That's what religion is all about. It's a significant portion. The Bible calls for that, as well as the Islamic religion. So thank you for putting out that solemn prayer and fast. So the next thing that I want to talk about before we get to the Supreme Court is the irony. And this is, did I say irony? No, let me not say irony, but the curse of Unity Party. I consider that Unity Party curse. Yes, Unity Party curse. And what did God say in Matthew chapter 7:12? He said, do unto others as you have them do unto you. If you think speck is in your brother's eye, you want him to take it out, you must firstly check yourself that you have no fault, that everything you said from the onset against them, be prepared to accept their own criticisms. Not only that, but they will go into your past and bring out the evidence against you, which will be one that you will not deny. I am saying this to mean what Unity Party did in the past. Today, they don't want anybody to talk about it. Liberia's political culture is like a marathon. You go around a cycle revolving. That's how Liberia's political culture and the events are. This same MCSS Melly came out in Weah's time. These guys who are in power today, they were critical. They were condemning of the Weah's administration. They said some awful things. They used some derogatory remarks on the former President George Weah and his people. Then they took to social media, they wrote. The dullness of these people then and now, they had not the least understanding or caution that their writing will be used against them in the future if they ascended to state power. Yesterday, they were condemning the Weah administration for manhandling students of the Moravia Consolidated School System because they were expressing their right. They were telling the government what was wrong and what they needed the government to do. They said Weah, in his callous self, would send his police, they would beat on students. He had no fear whatsoever. Even children, Weah was beating them through his police, and on we can go. I want to share with you few of what they did before coming to power. Let me start with Senator Darius DeLong. DeLong today is muted. When you were so condemning, critical, trumpeting all over the place in the past, and in the present, when you're sitting on the king's table and you can't talk any longer, even though all of those things that you condemn the other people of, and they are happening in your time, and you can't talk because you're sitting on the table with the king. You know what is that in biblical term, in the Bible? It's a curse. You will exist, you will enjoy the rest of life. But the time will come, you will sit and regret it. God is never off anything, anybody, any situation on this earth. This is why you want to be very careful, those of you who are yet to experience such, that you will not do. You want to avoid condemning and criticizing, putting yourself on record as if life would not change. Here is DeLon in 2019, October 15. The same MCC people. DeLon is writing October 15, 2019. October 15, 2019. Here is DeLon in opposition, in an angry move. DeLon would direct all of his anger, his vexation, his cutting at George Weah, as if he had a personal or something personal against Weah. He writes, October 15, this is October 15, 2019. DeLon writes or wrote, I vehemently condemn the brutality against our students today. They demonstrated today simply in their desire to gain an education in preparation of their future. We owe it to them. We must resolve their issue rather than tear gas them. October, not 2025. This is October, not March 15. 2025, October 15, 2019. DeLon wrote, condemning the Weah government for tear gassing students. Where is the next person? The next person is Stephen Johnson, who is sitting at the Liberia Airport Authority. Another one who was on Spoon Talk, insulting Weah, insulting every officials of Weah and saying that they were this, they were that. Weah was ruling with iron fist and on and on. Stephen Johnson wrote, he said, just as you see them today, they will write in pattern or by pattern. That means it did not write something on today. Because all of them are in that cahoot, this person will come and write too. And then this other person. Stephen Johnson comes, he said, students seen fleeing the scene as police unleashed tear gas in an attempt to disperse a peaceful protest by students, mostly under 18 years of age, from public schools. The students were protesting against the closure of schools due to unpaid salaries to striking teachers. And then they will put the same, you see, the tear gas. This was in Weah's administration. It's acknowledgeable. Then what's the next person? The next person is Patrick Horner. Patrick Horner wrote June 12, 2009. The same thing you see them do today. If Patrick Horner writes something, DeLon will pick up Stephen Johnson, Nito Lai, all the Unity Party people, they will pick it up and spray it. Patrick Horner, who sits at the place at, how they call it, Telecom, he said the students who are now political prisoners will one day remind those who jailed them and Liberians at large about how they endure painful moments, even as students, while fighting for the rights to be heard, like Ezekiel Pajibo, Arthur S. Masekwe, Dusty Wolokoli, and others are today. They too are part of the history. Their story will be told. Don't envy them when the time comes. Don't jealous them if you do not hear their story. They are where they are because of us all, even beyond the prison walls. I can still hear their voices crying for justice. What's the next one? And this one, yeah, the MCSS students, they will block the president's convoy. And nothing happened. The other people thought that something was going to happen. So those are few, but the many. Today, they don't want anybody to talk. The police, yesterday, tear gas several students of the Morovia Consolidated School System, wounded several, apprehended or took by force some of the students. And you will expect that nobody should talk about this, especially in a government that told the whole world that none of these things were going to happen. You have to be careful because everybody is on record of condemning, of criticizing regimes after regime. Yesterday, they were all over. Did you hear Dillon condemning what the police did to those students? No. Did you hear any one of the Unity Party people condemning? You know why they aren't condemning? Because they are guilty. Because they know that their bossmen, all of what the bossman said prior to the campaign was words they put in his mouth because they wanted to come to power and he was the only face. He wasn't ready. So they said, we will use you and then we just put you on the stage. We tell you to say this, say that, and that is exactly what it was. Bwaka, they would tell Bwaka, oh, Mr. Political standard bearer, you know, and you have to say this one, Weah is this, Weah is that, Weah is not running, and then he goes there too, he say those things. So they are happening in his administration now, not realizing that life on certain issues is fixed. So they are happening in his administration, and now he can't talk. They are guilty, they are ashamed. We're not praying for any one of these things every day to happen, but they are creating the scene for these awful things to happen, and they are having a toll on the government. You see that? None of them can talk. It is a shame. To add fuel to the already blazing atmosphere, the Minister of Education, Jaso Mala, will you have ever thought that Jaso Mala, the woman who they say have all the PhDs in education, will shift blame? Jaso Mala tried to play the smart, and you wonder. We can understand, madam, you do not understand this culture. We can understand how you came because in America, yeah, most of you have doctorate degrees, but doctorate degrees in America is not, it's not a prime, it's not really of prime importance. You have to do what you need to do to survive. But in Liberia, doctorate degree is like a strange thing. So when the people hear this person has a doctor degree, everybody falls prey to that person. But we are getting to know that all those things, nothing. So, madam, we can understand. Nobody had thought that you were going to stoop so low with shifting blame. Dr. Jaso Mala, the blame that you are shifting, it only tells us that you do not understand the job. Dillon influenced you, or you spoke to Dillon to come to Liberia because Liberia is a free place where government minister gets rich in no time. So Dillon gave you the assurance that yes, you can make it here. We know that you are Dillon's sister-in-law. You are the wife to Dillon's Gion brother. So we know how you came, which is not bad at all. But at this point in time, Madam Jaso Mala, Dr. Jaso Mala, to start giving excuse, especially political excuse, not academic excuse, but political excuse. You know what the woman insinuated? The woman attributed the students' protest to the influence of opposition politicians, in a nutshell, that Liberian opposition politicians are the ones who are influencing the students to do what they are doing to get political capital from it. What a pity. What a shame. What a disgrace. No idea. Almost all of Unity Party officials, they have fallen short of ideas to move this country forward. With all the boasting and bragging and ranting, idea is not in sight. The country is at the brink of nothingness. If something is not done miraculously to save this country, we can see the international community and the United Nations putting arrangement in place to safeguard this country. Already, Marvin Cole told us that there are people within the executive who want Joe Boakai to go early so that they will assume the leadership of this country. So they are putting pressure on him, according to Marvin Cole, so that the president will go as early before 2029 rather, and then they can assume the presidency of the country.
They are believing to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals, and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. Believing to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals, and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency.
So, Jaso Mala, that one was not for you. I just brought in that because of what is happening. I will talk about that. All those who want our president dead, you will die before President Joseph Yema Boakai. If you're witch within the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, for President Boakai to go ahead of 2029, you will die before our president. If that is your wish, just as Joseph brothers, they hold the dog for him. They were with Joseph. Oh, this and that, speaking all the good things about Joseph, saying all of the good things, making good this, that, all kinds of things, but they had evil intent. If that is the same evil intent that you people have for Joseph Yema Boakai to go before 2029, you who have that intent, you will die before President Boakai. Be you in the legislature, in the executive, in the legislature. If you harbor any evil plan for Joseph Yema Boakai to go ahead so that you will take over this country, I can assure you, because it's in the Bible, you will die before Joseph Yema Boakai will attend your funeral just as God attended Moses' funeral. So Joseph Jaso Mala, you should not have stooped so low. Yeah, madam, it tells us that you do not have. You are falling short of anything, knowledge to move the education sector forward. The claim raised by the students, it's not a bad claim. It's not an illegitimate one. Neither is it a monumental tax that you people can handle. This thing started long. It wasn't yesterday. It is only because of your neglect, your negligence to take ownership of it and prevent anything from occurring that led to the students going. It's been running for months. You, Jaso Malo, you call yourself, you say you hold a doctorate degree. This thing been running for months. Why you did not take siege of it as the Minister of Education, government minister, and settle it by preventing any protest? Now you saw, because of your negligence, the negligence of the people responsible, the MCSS authorities, all of you people, how you feel, how you felt and still feeling, Madam Jaso Mala, you and your people, seeing the police moving on those people. How you feel, how you felt and still feeling, looking at those footages that students were brutalized by police officers of the Liberia National Police. How you feel? The students were right, in my opinion. Why the teachers themselves did not go out to protest? The teachers protested. I told you what protestation is. They protested by staying off class. It is a statement of intent. It is a statement for action. So because they stayed out of class and it was having a bearing on the students, they too decided to bear pressure on the government to see reason to settle the matter before it gets out of hand, because they pay their money. They use time, energy, and resources. They were assured of a conducive learning environment by the rescue government. And you did nothing about it. And they had to move. They were right. They were right. They did not leave the students or the teachers, the teachers in the classroom and get out protesting. The students, the teachers were in the classroom. If the teachers were honoring their commitment, and for whatever reason, the students took to the streets, then you say, yes, the students were wrong. But the students were disadvantaged. The teachers of the classroom, they pay their fees, whether it's small or, or not. They pay their fees. They're ready to learn. The contract was sealed between the government, the students, and the teacher. So if one party is not fulfilling its responsibility for whatever the reason, it queries the next party because it will have an effect. It's just like what God says about the finger. If one finger is not functioning, what happens? It affects the rest of. Because everything is system. Dr. Jaso Mala, you stoop so low, madam. I will expect that you will stay off making political statements, stay within the academic realm, own up to your responsibility. You are the expert. Stop stooping so low to give political excuses. Yesterday, you said that it was not true. Keep playing the King's Cash giveaway. Don't stop playing. Continue to play. It is not easy. This country is terrible. It's bad off. It is nasty. The economy is in deep sea. The economy is not in the septic tunnel, as Dillon said during Weah's time. Waka time is gone deep sea. We will need diver to go under there to take it off. You know, the deep sea is deeper. That's why they say deep sea than septic tank. Septic tank is how many feet? Yeah, please help me, the technical people. So you have to play to get money in your pocket. It's 10,000 we're giving you today, Wednesday, is midweek, so that you can solve some of your problem and come out of poverty. I beg you all, your play. It's not easy. We're trying the best we can to help you. Things are bad off, things will get even worse than this. We're approaching Somaliland atmosphere in this place under Joseph Iman Barker. Dial star 799 star 100 hatch and just play with $200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US, and then you have your money. So Dr. Jasomala, I expect that you will not say that again. You will not shift any political blame or political excuse. Stay within your realm, academic, and then own up to your responsibility. Yeah. So those are the two first pointers. Let's take few comments on. Then we move to the line. Then we get to the Supreme Court. March 26. Gabriel West said her children are here in the U.S. going and have never been dragged by police. She sits herself in Liberia and accuses opposition for her government's blunder, irresponsible government. Matthew Cholople says, I will turn that lady over to Bishop Yeke to deal with her. Okay. And then Tobasi said, let the citizens recall Abraham Darius Dillon. Stop him from being a senator. It is just a matter of time. Dillon will not go back in that legislature. You don't worry. He will not go back. Philip said, do we have holiday in do we have holiday in Saudi Arabia? No, so we don't have time for such. Edward White said the Supreme Court. No, I haven't come to that. No, those of you who have written on the Supreme Court argument or the two parties argument ahead of time, I can read that because we've not come there yet. So let's go to the line now to have your say on these two first pointers. 0772 23 99 33, 0886 3044 97, the women's line, 0777 980375. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Andrews.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrews. This is Spencer Mohammed, and I call Patriotism down Coast Spoon Hill, Waytown community. Spencer, Mr. Andrews, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to always add our view on national issues. To the point, I am a Muslim, but for me, I do not support the ideology of holidays because I believe in my mind that will be a recipe for chaos. Because if a Muslim man get a holiday, another religions come in the world, because for now we have 5 major religions in the world. Why if the Buddhists come and say they want religion? Why if the Confucianists say they want holidays? Where we will be hailing? For me, exceptionally, I'm not interested in holiday. I believe that we should practice religion with sincerity and believe and practice it with faith and hope in God, that God will be able to answer our prayers. The next point, as regards to the students' issue, Mr. Andrews, as I sat and listened to you, I mirror what happened over the last 6 years. When you were reading the comments on those various those guys were here. Everything in the last 6 years, they did not see anything good of it. Why is it today they are coming out to say this issue is political?
All right, Chief.
Your promise also run a responsible government. That's why they imported you from America to come and take the responsibility to change everything in this country. Stop crying like a baby. Wake up to the reality and face the issue. The former education minister, Dr. Sony did not cry like that. He faced it up slightly.
Thank you, sir. Let's give time to the other people.
Just 1 minute. I listened to the press release from the TA of the MCSS. They said they made every attempt to this government to listen, and they failed to listen. That's why they resulted in putting their pen down. So you should take the responsibility and face it head on and stop shitting brain. Thank you, Mr. Andrew, for giving us the opportunity.
Have a blessed midweek. Hello.
How you doing, Mr. Andrews?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank God Almighty.
Yeah. Peter Sai, and I join you from Sokoto District 4. As regards the holiday, I sure it's a diversionary thing. There are a lot of things that are going on. Now, these guys want to use that issue of holiday to overshadow it. So the issue of the education, I beg you, let us be beg the party to stop scapegoating the real issue with PDC or opposition. Because it's a kind of started to scapegoat. Instead of them facing their problem and solving it, they don't want to face their problem and solve it. They are scapegoating. You got your children in private school, they are getting good facility, they are in good learning environment. You got a poor children suffering. When they are suffering, they have no good facility, but the teacher who got to give them their lesson are not coming to class. You didn't pay the teacher and do what you were to do.
All right,
somebody went and took them on the street to protest. Your failure to come on your responsibility is what led to the failure.
Thank you, sir.
So we beg you.
Your point is understood.
Solve your problem and don't scapegoat. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Abraham K. Duplin, I call from Butcher Island, I'm a former police officer.
do you have to say former police officer? You want people to know that you're former police officer, eh?
Oh yes, I am.
Or you're running a campaign, a media campaign to get back in the police force?
No.
You won't go, my man. You won't go back?
Brother, I left the police force. I resigned from the police force.
When did you leave the police?
Thank you very much. That was 11 December 27.
Why did you leave?
They have described the police administration as being politicized.
Politicized?
Liberticized.
Liberticized?
Liberty, the destroyer of liberty.
Yeah.
I received the most distinguished leadership award from Army. I'm a proud police officer.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
So you are security. You are a good security expert.
Democratic society through police performance.
Okay, let's hear the reason for which you call.
Thank you very much. The police action against the students, they were wrong. The criminal procedure law chapter 10 talk about arrest and the force permissible in effective arrest. You are dealing with juvenile. The access to the juvenile law is very different. They are not adults. That's force to use all those children yesterday. The police has a water truck. We are aware. Fire tear gas. If they was to introduce the water truck, if they were going a little bit contrary to the law, children commit crime, they are in conflict with the law. Introduce the water truck and use the water truck to disperse them. Why use tear gas? Injuring them. That was wrong. This is what I call.
All right,
police need to know how to deal with juvenile. When you arrest a juvenile as a police officer, you accompany them in uniform. No. When you take a juvenile to court, they talk to them in camera. They are not adults. The force that was used on the children yesterday was very effective.
Thank you, sir.
In grade school, as juvenile, they would have introduced the water truck. That's the best way to disperse them.
What is the age before you go off? What age the juvenile age?
Juvenile are people below 18. People in grade school are 99.9% below 18.
For the discussion's sake, all of those people you saw yesterday were people under 18?
100% so. If you die, go to the grade school.
Or you are saying that from a security perspective?
I'm seeing that from a security perspective, and I'm saying that from a broader perspective also. People in school are people 99.9% below 18 years.
So when you
most of graduate at the age 16, 17.
When you were
so in the 7-year-old person is an adult.
When you were in the police and you had a situation like this, also I assume, did you carry students at the police headquarters in uniform?
No, you can't do that.
When you affected, wait now, during your time, listen to me, listen. I am asking you, as a former police officer, at the time you were active, you were involved. I sure you experienced some of these things. When you arrested students, did you carry them at the time you were in active policing? Did you carry them to the police station in their uniform?
You can't do that.
You didn't do it?
There's a standing order for that.
Oh, Chief. Thank you, sir. The question I'm asking you, answer.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Sam Andrew.
Let's hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Peter David Castle. Mr. Sam Andrew, you have just said it all. You know, in 2019, when the MCSS students protested against the Weah administration, at that time, I can remember Dillon. The man appeared on more than 4 registration on a particular day and just to condemn and criticize the government. But what happened yesterday, they are all muted. They are not talking. They feel that they are not even or nothing has just happened. And this was one of the instruments that Dillon used and to win the senatorial seat of Maserati.
Today, he has spent several years at the House of Legislature. He has not formulated a single policy that can effectuate change in the life of the students in Montserrat County. So these guys are very much disgraced, and that's why we told our people yesterday that Dillon and other guys, they are not good around our body politic. They are not good in the governance system because they are not innovative. The ideas of creativity is lacking. But most of them were angry.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Elected him as a senator for Montserrat.
Thank you. Let's bring on your colleagues. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you, Sam. Good afternoon, Sam Andrews.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sam, this is Hussein. I'm Hussein Kewo. I join you from my Jakarta office in district number 2. Sam, thank you. I listened to the different talking. So the first one, being a Muslim and a proud one, the issue of holiday, for me to support any holiday for a particular religion in Liberia. Because our constitution in Liberia is a secular state. We have to remain like that. Because I can remember some years back during the Salif administration, we brought something like that in Banga, and it came to a serious tension between Muslims and the Christians. So I hope those who are thinking in that direction should please reconsider that Liberia remain that we are peaceful, we are coexisting, so it be like that. So the issue of the MCSS school, Sam, sometimes I just get so confused on the way our young brothers, will go about handling situations of such. I've been in the student politics, student leadership. Sam, there are ways you can engage stakeholders, more especially the administration, or if that be the government. The way our brothers are handling this issue of protest, for me, I don't think it's right. Because you got the right to freely assemble. You got the right to petition, but all of those rights come with responsibility. So why would you want to just be so violent? And in fact, some will come up with a good intention of protest petitioning the government, but then they will have politicians intruding into their
were they violent?
Yeah, when you watch the video from the video I saw, saying there were some of them who was
were they violent, or the police officers were forceful on them using excessive force?
No, so Sam, it was not the entire group that were violent. There are some of you saw in the video where even the battle cry they were chanting were looking very, or irritating. But that is not a ground for
battle cry does not constitute violence.
Yeah, no, I was saying that is not a ground for being brutal because they are students.
But even as that, why were your Unity Party police move the way they moved? Yesterday, you people stood up against the Weah's government and said that the people needed to protest. Weah should stop infringing on the rights of the people. When Weah government said that these things, it's likely that it could turn into a violent posture, you people argue against that. But today, nobody. You say the people were violent. Hey, my man, Hussein, stop, man. My man, just admit that your government or the police under your government is brutal. Yeah, just wrap up. Wrap up. Let the other people come on.
I'm not in support of the police being brutal against a peaceful Liberian citizens. I'm not. I would not be that secret fan to do so.
All right, thank you.
What I think we can do, Sam, the students should be a listening one and follow the proper procedure.
Your government is a listening one. Your police are listening one. They can listen. They can exercise patience.
That's one of the best governors we have in the country.
That's true. No, that's true. You're right. Okay, thank you, Hussein. Thank you. You just get a couple of days to complete your fast. I hope that you celebrate well. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, thank you for putting the time. Am I live on the radio?
Yeah, you are on the air, sir.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Saki, and I joined your conversation this afternoon for two communities. Mr. Andrew, what I want to say is that the government of today is so shame. With too much old people in the government with almost 80, 70, age to be behaving like somebody who is 24 or 25 years old. Yesterday, you see students went after the Weah car. People hit at it. It was not good. Today, they didn't so-called level of Montserrat can they have not come up since yesterday up to today to condemn the issue. I think Senator Jones will be calling on the RG and the Minister of Education to call them to the House of Senate to function them on the kind of issue. Look at for innocent young students and put their gas at them. And then they were put the EJBM back and president for the whole education. It is so sad, it is so shitty in this country. But when I think we say the graduate come here, it's after 2029. You should go out of the country because even if you stay in Liberia, even this, they will go after you and go after even your children. Thank you for putting the time this evening.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for spicing up the first lab of the show. That's all the time we've got for those 2 pointers. The call by former Finance Minister Lucinin Kamara told the president that the president should declare the close of the Ramadan national holiday exclusive to Muslims because they will be breaking their fast. And what I didn't inject is, I don't think this is a decree. How they call that? There's a name for it. But giving a holiday, you have to go. It is a process. It has to pass through the legislature. Boaka can come up one morning and say national holiday because these people are breaking, and national holiday because these other people are marching. No, that's not how it works. All right. And then the MCSS students. Thank you all for spicing it up. So here we go with the second and final lap of the show.
When we, the national for the president address, they begin move of news and the address itself. That was the common way of trying to avoid getting involved in potential conflict. You remember the conflict going at the House, the Supreme Court, when they appeared before us, we made a decision. And the effect of that decision was that, look, our law required that the House should have a quorum, and that quorum should be presided over by a speaker. Now that you, the quote-unquote majority black, have a quorum, but we don't see a speaker there. So whatever you do is ultra-viral. Otherwise, you nigga, we turn to the minority black. The law says until you can get majority, you get quorum, you continue to adjourn from day to day and compare the other people to join. But there's no statute that tells you how you will compare the people. You don't have a rule that tells you how you will compare the people. So you two will remain there when they get majority. Whatever you do is ultra-viral. So on both sides, the Supreme Court are clearly saying that go and solve your problem. We don't have law to that effect. We don't have own. We're not in control of politics. If for some reason the Senate decide to recognize majority black, president recognize majority black, and government function is going on, then we receive an invitation from the speaker. Our question is, our president there means that we are recognized one side of the black. So the best thing to do was to remain who we are. That was the rationale. Many people don't understand, but that was the rationale of the court.
Although I committed myself to doing an audit, this is the reason why when the first time I saw this outturn was when the budget was submitted to us. It is not true that any member as was exerted last Sunday came to me to discuss issue of outturn. And I will show you the hypocrisy in a minute. When I saw this, I called my staff. They gave me the evidence of this money movement. And I will produce screenshots and documents to that effect at my trial of how money was moved. So I said, no, I don't want to use screenshots and documents to that effect at my trial. They gave me the evidence of this money movement. And I will produce screenshots and documents to that effect at my trial. And I will produce screenshots and documents to that effect at my trial. And I will produce screenshots and documents to that effect at my trial of how money was moved. So I said, no, I don't want to implicate anyone. But what I will do, we must do the audit. So now they have even extended it to 2022. So we'll be asking the GAC instead of just 2023 audit to 2022 and 2023 to see what happened here. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not just going to throw charges. So I just want the public that this GAC audit will happen as I mandated. I wanted to see it at the end of 2025. I mean, at the end of October. That's what precipitated the fast hurry of spreading this resolution around to prevent it. I want the audit. There was even testimony on Sunday that I prevented the audit. I want you to call the Auditor General of the Republic of Liberia. When the auditors were chased from here, and when I was in the States, the GSC called me to complain because they sent them 31 questions to answer. So one look at those questions, they got scared. They drove the people here from coming to open a shop here. They will call a name to you, did that. They will call a name to you. And we have their testimony, their letter that was written to me as to who drove them from this campus. And ever since we have been trying to negotiate with the few that this audit must happen, that the House of Representatives must be audited. I signed that contract. It was one of my campaign pledges. We have had difficulty in doing that because we have the resistance to change is monumental in this job.
Keep playing the King's Cash giveaway. It's 10,000 people. We are giving you 10,000. Today is Wednesday, the 26th day, historic day in Liberia. The Supreme Court is also giving you 10,000. So please, I'm just kidding with that. Keep playing the King's Cash giveaway. 10,000 we are giving you. Dial star 799 star 100 hatch. Play with $200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US and get 10,000 for yourself in this bad economy of Nebuchadnezzar, a country where broad day kidnapping has become the order of the day. Oh, yes. Somebody, is it Nessie? All right. Nessie is uncomfortable with my description. Let me clear Nessie doubt and we'll move forward. She said, please stop saying Liberia is nasty. Other people from different countries are listening on this station. Okay. So listen, my dear. We describe you, yeah? This is not no softly thing. When we call in Boaka Nebuchadnezzar, you're going to be happy. I see some of you are right. Some of you are saying other things. When I say nasty, I'm referring to the economy and the things that are happening. When we see police engaging, brutalizing, it's not nasty. That's a nasty act. It's irrational. It's inhumane. You don't want to do that. When you see people being kidnapped, broad day, tinted windshield, no lesson plate, isn't that a nasty act? You have to understand the context in which we're using these expressions. No, please. All right. So the Supreme Court set today, March 26, for the hearing. Both parties made their arguments, and the atmosphere was an interesting one, an educative one for both the public and the lawyers that were there. If you are not aware, what the Supreme Court did not give anything of who is right, who isn't right, because it wasn't for right or wrong, but rather to hear the arguments from the Bill of Information filed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor J. Fonati Kofa, based on the ambiguity or the difficulty or the suspension ultra-virus ruling, which caused confusion amongst the lawmakers and factionalized them, that one group said they are the House of Representatives and the other people, they aren't. The Justice Minister, Councillor Oswald Twer, will interpret that ultra-virus ruling from the Supreme Court as ruling in favor of the majority bloc. The Supreme Court, before it, legal issue. So it is not for the Supreme Court to rule in favor of either party, but what the law says. That is the essence of the whole thing and the value of that argument they had today. So the Supreme Court will reserve ruling. No date was given, just as Teacher Light, A.B. Weah, who is a lawyer himself, will explain how it works in law, and we took that education and following that pattern, and you see it happening. He made it clear that today was just going to be the arguments from both sides, both legal teams, and then the Supreme Court will set a time to give that determination. That is exactly what we're saying today. No date was set. The Supreme Court did hear argument and left it undisclosed. That means the day and date they will give that determination on the law, not by person, not by party, not by faction, but the law, what the law says. That what unfolded today. But before going further, let me give you a little understanding. I'm not going to dwell on this long. When Teacher Light comes tonight, will explain more to you people on that. That is the legal man. They understand how all these legal stuff works. We only chip in from our literal understanding. So the atmosphere was an interesting one. It was a unique atmosphere. The lawyers representing both parties were in full. They made their arguments. There were a couple of interventions from the full bench and the two competing legal parties. At one point in time, not very many times, I should admit, I have seen at occasions the Chief Justice. All of the ceremonies I have seen the Chief Justice at, she had always maintained her usual self, quiet, very composed. When the time comes for her to make her presentation, she goes there. If she's going extempo, she will do that. If she's reading from a prepared script, she will, and then after. She isn't known as the radical type, the combative type. No, I don't know. I should say the few times I've seen her in gathering. But today gave me another side of the Chief Justice. Yeah. Is it the what they can say, Lara? Is it where woman learn boy is real? She can be very moderate, but when it comes to certainty, you can see her real self. It's my first time today to see the Chief Justice really phasing up. It looks like she was uncomfortable with certain things. She saw a couple of contradictions, especially from the majority bloc, not especially, but from the majority bloc. Vani Sherman would think that he's more clever. He would think that he knows the law more than all of his colleagues on that Supreme Court bench, the minority bloc, and other lawyers in the country. That's how Vani Sherman would see himself. Until the Chief Justice opened legal school for him, legal tutorial for him. Instead of comporting himself and stay within the ambit of the law, conduct himself right, and say what he put himself in a political posture to satisfy Kun and the rest of the people. The woman faced up to him at one point in time, telling him what he ought to know, what the law says. See, the gathering was just into the you see, our men on the other side, they were cold. They were cold. Just the beginning, I can say, just a wet chicken. They had too many contradictions. They had thought that, oh yes, because they court rule ultra virus, and the justice minister came out to say the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the majority bloc, so the Supreme Court was treading that same route. And the woman made it clear. The first thing was in the introduction, we did not recognize Fonati Kofa as the speaker. But she wasn't saying that Fonati Kofa is not the speaker. They took that, they started running with it here and there. What she was simply saying in legal terms, as per the argument, we did not recognize Fonati Kofa as the speaker in this misunderstanding as per what we release. But the law provides that there should be a speaker for the gathering, and the speaker is Fonati Kofa. That's the first thing they started with. That clarity was necessary. And some people misunderstood that. And then they went on into the cross of it. From what we've gathered, you can reach the conclusion that it doesn't look good. It wasn't good. And it doesn't look good for the majority bloc. Yeah, it didn't. That hearing today, no. The guys from the majority bloc, many times they were called to order, they were corrected, they were schooled. Vani Sharma just did not help, and he's still not helping Richie Kun. Vani Sharma knows, Councillor Vani Sharma knows that Richie Kun is not the speaker. But we can understand he's more political than legal. He knows that his colleagues know by the law that Richie Kun was not elected. The speaker whom they claim was given due process wasn't given due process. If Vani Sharma was not involved in this thing as representing either party and sitting on that bench, he would not argue. He will not argue that Richie Kun is speaker. He will stick to the law, what the law says. We've seen this man in a number of gatherings, sticking to the law. But because, how you will go in that place, then you bring in house rule. You say the high rule say they want, the high rule say they want, so Richie Kun is the speaker. As they were presenting the case, you could see, I'm about to play something from the Chief Justice. You could see some of the majority lawmakers, they were just sitting down, looking. Some of them started sleeping. But as it stands, as you look at that gathering today, the entire hearing, you can sense that the Supreme Court knows that the guys are in error. Nothing there. I don't think they will have it going their way. I'm not sure. Remember now, as you say again, the Supreme Court did not give any ruling today. They did not say it did. We expect at the close of the month, because today is the 26th, so the 27, 28, 29, we expect the Supreme Court to come up with the determination before the close of March, if not the first week in April. But there was nothing like ruling today. It wasn't for ruling as we were schooled by Teacher Light, A.B. Weah, who is a lawyer, that today wasn't for anything ruling, was just intended to hear both sides, because COFA filed a bill of information. And under the law, the bill of information is the thing that you send out. It's confusing. Everybody claiming right. So can you please simplify it? Can you give us a full understanding? That is the essence. So that was for that. Thereafter now, as AB will drill us through the legal aspect, the determination. So another expectation, we would know now the ruling on the law. That determination would not be on personality or fashion. The majority bloc won or minority bloc lost. No. The ruling, the determination will be solely on the law. On the law, as it has always been from the one. The argument had been on the law. That's why the speaker and his people went before the Supreme Court. Everything that is legal. So they will say now, the law says this, this, this. The law said this, this, this. So this person remains the Speaker of the House of Representatives. But there was a hint given. There was a hint given. I think it was a question or a statement from one of either the Chief Justice or one of those. He say, if you got 50, then why are you doing the wrong thing? Meaning, you claim to be the majority. You claim to have the number. And the law requires that you should have 49 to open a due process, a hearing. So if you claim to have that number, then why are you doing the wrong thing? Why are you not doing the right thing? Well, that was just a hint. Oh, it was very interesting today. So let's go now. Let me play you something from the Chief Justice today. It was an open argument. Let me play you something from the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Her Honor Siane Yo, who is leaving. Even though they said when they went for the opening of the court, they said it was her last public function, but no, it wasn't. She just performed another one, and then there's another one coming up. Yeah, but she's outgoing anyway. That's what I said. Let me get something for you from the Chief Justice from today's argument. Richard Coon, it's just a matter of time. Everything, just as Teacher Light always saying, you are illegal. All that you will pay. And not only that, but something you will do. Let's listen to the Chief Justice after that, and we'll talk that.
Try to call the people, which is ultra virus, to come to the meeting on the other side. And we are saying clearly in the interpretation of Article 33 that yes, the only thing wrong here, there is a speaker, you are the speaker, but you are in the minority. To compare, you don't have the law. So does that give your argument, does that give the right to those absent members to go and form themselves into a majority bloc?
You don't form yourself. And now nobody increase all the world everything.
And Adam and so we did not increase to 100. We are saying, we said, and we will say again. We say it again, you can be 1,000. But we say at the time of that petition, At the time of that petition, we were clear. We said in the instant case, the legislature not having given an enabling statute to ensure compliance with Article 33. At that time, there was a presiding officer, there was a speaker, okay, that would cause the court, to do this. So the court cannot do for the legislature what they should do for themselves. This is what we said. So what made you go now and designate another speaker when there was already a designated speaker when this court spoke?
Tell them, madam.
Go back
They were dealing with Vanny Shamo.
That's a story they have gone back there. And when the speaker was never elected, 143 assistants. Doesn't that make them dysfunctional?
Why is the 43 sitting? That's my question.
Because they are members of the legislature, they are members of the house, they have the obligation of the city. And they were not sitting in the house of the Islamic culture. We were sitting in the presence of a deputy speaker. The speaker was sitting in another office.
The Vanny Shamo, they are four artists.
Even though.
Mr. Even though. Yeah, buddy. The core artists. What the way? Chief, everything. Tell the man that your man is not the speaker. Tell your man that he's wrong. But anyway, it didn't go either party way. The Supreme Court reserved ruling for a later date. Yeah, but Vanny Shamo was humiliated. He was belated. Today, he reduced himself. The noise that you heard in the background, he blundered, and everybody started laughing at him. Everybody. But you can tell where it is going to go. I do not know. The Supreme Court will make that determination, but arguments were held today, and it just was interesting. Very, very interesting one. So this 26th day has come to pass, and everyone was upbeat, and everyone heard the argument, and we know now that it is over. So don't worry, tonight you will hear more from Teacher Light, yeah? Okay. Let's hear from Representative Koluba.
Richard Kuhn and all his rebels. On the court ground. My man, the court ground, the last of my living room. You can stay anywhere in town. Yeah, I can be the
You're talking about your guy. Are you a councillor?
Yes, I am a councillor. So you know I'm even laughing in the court today.
No.
One councillor was before the Chief Justice. The case didn't finish. By the time they asked the other minister, the councillor walk out, he said, I said, but councillor, again, that Joseph walk out. The team finish, you walking, going.
Where's that councillor?
No, forget about that.
But what's your own interpretation from the argument that went out today?
We cannot interpret anything for the Supreme Court. We believe in the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, we made a right judgment in the interest of the country. So whatsoever judgment this Supreme Court come up with, our Baba it.
What's the expectation?
My expectation is to rule in the interest of the law. That's my expectation, and I believe in that. So you see, like some of the questions I asked Honorable Vanny Shamo, not take for example the Chief Justice here, then till our worker and go sit down upstairs and say the Chief Justice must come up to us. You think that's a procedure? He said no, that's not the case. Vanny Shamo is very old. He need to retire now because
Councillor, you're talking to sir.
Bossman, I'm not insulting the councillor. People can get old. When people get old, and the mistake someone have made. I know Joseph Baka was 85-year-old going to a 90 under going to power. You see her brain has collapsed and feel
That's strange. That's strange. Let's go to the issue for which we are here for. Yeah, let's go straight to the point for which we are here for. Right? You saw both lawyers, from the majority bloc and the minority bloc. Now, how can you analyze everything that went on there?
The people on the bench kept saying Article 33 and 49. What 33 say, what 49 say? The Constitution recognizes Sonati Kofa. That's what the people keep saying. The Constitution does not recognize Tomo Fala while the speaker is present. So the eyes, Councillor Sherman, when the deputy speaker in a rebel group was sitting, was the speaker present? He said, yeah, the speaker was in one room. Everybody there laughed. You can't do this to the country.
In one room, that could mean he was absent.
That means he was present, but they don't want to say he was present. People got a personal issue with Fonati Kofa. They go and solve it like Councillor Sherman. Councillor Sherman got his personal issue with some case that Fonati Kofa went with before. So he have taken it in personal and leaving the interest of the Liberian people, the interest of the Liberian people first. And we think the Supreme Court will rule. The Supreme Court, I don't want it to rule to say in my favor. Let them just rule. So the ruling is you say antiviral, autoviral, coronavirus. The people don't understand, and the Chief Justice said it. The Chief Justice said will not interpret or will not give our ruling for the marketeers, but will give our ruling for the counselors, you counselors, to be able to understand the ruling. And they understood it very well.
So you listen to the various judges, including the boss herself. Do you think there's a possibility of the Supreme Court ruling in favor of the majority bloc?
No, the Supreme Court rule in favor of the law.
I'm just asking what
right. No, I don't want to have that notion that the Supreme Court rule in favor of the minority or the majority. The Supreme Court look, because after this time, they will go to the public will judge them. You know why the guys on lawmaker in the time when they pass, people don't recognize them? People say, of course, I agree. But if you didn't advise me 6 years ago, don't advise me now. I don't need your advice. If you thought our cause 6 years ago, you should advise me to stop it. Why you want me to stop insulting one reckless man? And I told him, I said, reckless Waka, if you win this election and you don't proceed the right way, I will tell you things more than this. You think Joseph Waka is surprised? He's not surprised. Thank you. I'll be in church.
Thank you so much. Yes, he's right. The same thing I told you. It's about the law. Not you don't look at it from Kofa as a person or majority bloc or how they call the other people, minority bloc. No, majority bloc. The law does not have anything called bloc. And the law is the law. So the court will rule. The court will rule in accordance with the law. And we can preempt. Let's assume yes, the court rules in favor of the law. The law favors Fonati Kofa. The court is going to rule in accordance with the law. And everything about Kofa is the law. He's not operating outside the law. He's operating within the law. The law supports him. The law backs him. He has the protection of the law. So we can reach the conclusion or have the understanding that the court will rule in accordance with the law, and that person who is within the law, within the ambit of the law, will have the Lord's reward. Okay, so that's it. So before we get to the line, listen, Richard Kuhn will get out. Richard Kuhn will get out of that place. Hear me. 1, Richard Kuhn will get out. 2, Boakai has given up on Richard Kuhn. 3, it not coming to this country. 3, outside of Liberia, everybody's skeptical. They're holding on to everything to see how this will end. 4, the Chief Justice made it clear that the country is in chaos. Vani Sharma comes quickly and counter the Chief Justice to say the country is not in chaos. But he did not understand his understanding of chaos, people fighting all over the place. I believe she said the country was in chaos based on what she been hearing from the people, what she sensed both in Liberia and what the reaction of the people out of Liberia is. The country is truly in chaos. It has been withheld to this country. You can have one event in a country and the whole world can stop support going to your country, can stop support from going there. We've seen it with previous governments. The international community can look at you and tell you, Mr. President, we don't want this person. There were people that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, in her 12 years as president of this country, she took a decision to get rid of that person or people. The international community told her, no, if you did, we'll cut support. We can work with this person. There are people or name that Ellen Sirleaf appointed. Immediately, they told Ellen, we can work with such person. So you have to do the needful. Ellen had to withdraw. It's there, your asset. And then she put a person that the people felt they could work with. They can look at you and say, Mr. President, Rachel Kuhn was not duly elected. Hence, we cannot work with your government on this, on that. You see, everything that the people doing, people, they say, oh, the people not doing this, the people not doing that. The people cataloging everything. When the time comes, they will give their full position to Joseph Yema Boakai. They will state everything in the document. In diplomacy, it's not shouting and screaming all over the place. No, diplomacy goes with all of those things associated with it. One of the essential elements of diplomacy is time and patience. Within that interval or between that interval, they gathered everything they can. When the time comes, they release it. Until then, we're seeing things, the government, projects of the government on hold. Don't mind the rhetoric, the preaching around here, they're doing this, they're doing that. Nothing is happening. Nothing developmental taking place in this country. Nobody should fool you. But because they are in government, the politics is, let us make the people to feel that things are happening. So you see them having press conference with this one. You see Gafwan say he's going on his side to electrify Buchanan. They do the roads projects. Everything has come to a standstill. Where the money coming from? When you're ready to start anything, sometimes the partners can tell you you're pre-financed. And there is not a full guarantee when you pre-finance it, you will get the money they promise to give. That's why most of the projects, you'll see, they can't finish it, it's stalled. And then they give excuses. Look at the country right now. I am saying this to tell you that the people are unsatisfied. They have spoken to Boakai about this thing, and Boakai has given up on Rachel Kuhn. Boakai cannot trade. He cannot trade development that he swore to do in this country as president, a legacy he wants to leave for Rachel Kuhn's satisfaction. No rational person will ever want to do that. You're keeping a curse, even though he's part of your party. You want him to be speaker, but the way in which it all happened, now it has placed the country in a terrible state that development partners are withholding development aid to the country. No rational leader will want that. The next thing, they will use that person as a sacrificial lamb. Boakai has given up on Rachel Kuhn, and Rachel Kuhn knows that very well, and those within the majority bloc, they know that very well. At the close of the day, the Supreme Court will rule in accordance of the law. And the law is clear. Had they given Fonati Kofa due process with the number they claim to have, we would not have reached this stage, because Fonati Kofa made it clear. He only needed due process. And if they remove him as per the parliamentary procedure, he will wash his hands and move on. Fonati Kofa was not born to be speaker forever and ever. Fonati Kofa came to earth, gained what he gained by his education, and started to make thousands of dollars. Fonati Kofa is one of the well-to-do men in this country. One of the best in terms of legal knowledge in this country. Unlike that man who's sitting over there, who has no reputation whatsoever, unknown, forcing recognition on himself, Bouaka has given up on Richard Kuhn. And let me tell you this. Richard Kuhn will get out. Richard Kuhn will not be speaker. Richard Kuhn is not the speaker. The Supreme Court will not. The law, let me not say the Supreme Court, but the law does not favor Richard Kuhn, because Kuhn has never been in the law. That is a junta regime. That is junta. Anything you hijack is juntaism. Anything in a household, in the community, in church, in office, anything you hijack, that juntaism. That's mercenarism. That's why they will do everything rushing. You saw how they did the budget hearing. You know that all of the components, everything, all of the elements that associated with budget hearing was never activated, rushing, to the extent that they depleted the budget before it even became a budget. So what Bouaka was signing, that just mere paper. Today, the government don't have $5. Go to Ministry of Finance. You hear the people talking it. Today, the government get fat out. They're struggling. Things are hard all over. Business people, they started coming out now complaining. They're admitting honestly that things are really tough. They're feeling it now, because you know why? Countries around the world, they're tightening their grip. They're withholding things coming to Liberia. One of the main reasons why is this thing here, this legislative wahala. And nobody is responsible for this but Joseph Yuma Bouaka. Support not coming to this country? Don't blame anybody. Bouaka brought it on himself. He thought Fonati Kofa was singing a Peking, like Richard Kuhn, that they can toast to and fro. He did not know that he was dealing with a lawyer, a seasoned lawyer, professor of law, doctor of law. He thought that he was dealing with one Richard Kuhn who just go sit down, go to UL there, take money from the children, getting something like that, and sit down, using it to and fro. He didn't know that he was dealing with a wealthy man, a man who started experiencing good life before he Bouaka. A man who is known internationally. Fonati Kofa is known internationally. When Fonati Kofa leave from here, you think Fonati Kofa can just leave because he wants to see his family or he's going to see family? Some of the trip that Fonati Kofa makes out of this country, a direct call from Uncle Sam. He goes on a specific purpose and comes back to this country. So Bouaka preferred to have development coming to the country so that his arrest agenda will be successful because time going, than to have Richard Kuhn over there. Bouaka resolved that since this thing here, it can't work, it's not working, there is still time ahead of all. Let Richard Kuhn go sit down. Let the people do whatever they can do there as per the ruling that will come from the Supreme Court in accordance with the law. If Fonati Kofa steps aside, having set precedents, They go into a new process. Whoever emerges as speaker, fine. And I bet you, if Fonati Kofa steps aside, and I don't think Fonati Kofa wants to be speaker within this regime. He has seen a lot. He's been harassed, intimidated. The only thing the people have not done yet is to take Fonati Kofa's life, this government. They harass him. They call him in the presence of the president and told him that he should resign. Keep playing the King's Cash giveaway. I'm getting there gradually. Keep playing. Dial star 799 star 100 hatch. Play with $200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US. Play as many times as you can. We are in a difficult period. You need money, and we are giving you money in crisis time. If you can take it, well, then you can go in the church and be praying whole day, praying for 2-3 hours and say, God should give you testimony. When you have testimony of 10,000 right before you to receive, dial star 799 star 100 hash, play with $200 Liberian dollars. Yes. They intimidated Fonati Kofa. They took the security details from him. They took the convoy from him. They lie on him that he burned the Capitol building. Today, they still, all of those things were at Fonati Kofa alone. Bouaka did all of those things. All of those things were at the approval of Bouaka. Bouaka knew about it. Bouaka supported it. And you think the international community will sit down, seeing all these things happening in Liberia, then they will put their money here, they will encourage investors to come in this country? No serious-minded country will ever do that. And then, here's the last one, then I open the line. Rachel Kun is going out. Rachel Kun will not be in that play as speaker. His days are numbered. Rachel Kun out, just as Teacher Light always saying, that public money, that state resources Rachel Kun using. Not only will Rachel Kun account for those dollars, state money, but Rachel Kun will be impeached. Rachel Kun will leave that legislature in disgrace. Will impeach Rachel Kun. Rachel Kun has several grave crimes, legitimate ones, that his colleagues will bring on that floor, and he will be impeached, he will be removed. And he's suspending all over the place, and he's telling people not to come around the compound, and he's doing other things there. It's just a matter of time that how God works. Nebuchadnezzar felt he had all of the power. He had everything unto himself. He could do anything and everything. When God got ready for Nebuchadnezzar, we are told by the very God, he made Nebuchadnezzar to eat grass. Nebuchadnezzar did not believe that he was going to go through such. Rachel Kun will take you from that legislature, will impeach you. You will sit down, you will cry. In fact, the pressure already on you, sir. Continue playing the King's Cash giveaway. We are getting there. Let's have you playing. We're getting there to give out the 10,000. Dial star 799 star 100 hatch. Play with $200 Liberian dollars or $1.50. So let's get to the line now. Let's get to the line and take few calls, and then we are out. No ruling today, so you don't tell people, oh, the Supreme Court rule, and the Supreme Court rule in favor of Fonati Kofa, or the Supreme Court rule in favor of the majority bloc, Richard Kun. No, you hear people telling you those things, that the majority bloc people don't believe anything. Anybody say anything of a ruling, tell them the Supreme Court ain't rule on anything. Nothing. At a later date, they will tell us, and all of us will know. Simple as that. Yeah? So let's go now. Let's start with the male line. The first 2 pointers, the women were not interested to them because they're not politics. So they said they were not calling. Hello?
Good evening. Yeah, my name is Brother Josh Kakwa. I call from Brownville. Yeah, see, brother. You know, yes, I called about this something today in a review. I'm very admiring on a serious note. Along being taking Yakakwaba to be a stupid man, but Yakakwaba is very sound.
Yeah, flow, my man, flow.
Today. He told them, why 6 years ago you not advise me? Only this time you want to advise me. I tell you, if it could be another lawmaker, a question that they asked Yakakwaba today. They were going to be boasting with they will ruin our favor and things. But you saw how you turn out.
All right, Chief. Let's go on the other side. Thank you. Hello. Hello?
Yeah.
Let's hear you quick.
Yeah. Mr. Andrew, thank you for jumping on this session, you know, but get one man keep giving majority.
No, you're not clear, Chief. You're not clear. You have to change your location. Hello.
Hello, Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
I'm Marie calling from my market.
Yes, let's hear you.
Yes, I told you that our old man do that. So we're not paying our head down to those people. That woman not paying our head because that old man do her character at.
Where you are, you're sounding hollow. You're sounding like you're in a hole or an open place.
I'm in an open place.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, just wrap up.
Yeah, that was saying. So I feel like it's about me. You shouldn't play on that more intelligent. Intelligent to the fact, but they just want to base themselves. You can hold post all of them.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
We thank God today. We listen to Google News.
What kind of good news? What kind of good news?
They don't get a rule, so everybody, all I want to will happen with it.
All right.
One go on here, good. So, we happen, they rule or not, but it was 10. They will go by the law. They will hold on. Chanel Griffith, that's somebody that knows better. Who listen to him, Vanishama? Vanishama ain't saying no better.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
You are on the air.
Okay. I heard you calling somebody a lawyer. Abraham Weah. Abraham Weah is a lawyer.
Chief, say now. Call, speak.
You know, I mean, it confused me.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. You pay, then you say a lawyer.
So what has it called? You called to say what you want to say. You want to say that so that you will go. And Chief?
No, I hear you calling lawyer.
But the man is a lawyer.
Ask you whether he's a lawyer.
He is.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
I don't think so. Okay.
Thank you.
Too.
But you regular, I know that dementia or why you suffer from. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Vanessa, the 1 million Weah and follower of Everyone Gotten Weah. Thank you for your topic on that discussion. You know, Sir Andrew, at least we're getting there because the code did not go in favor of anybody. But I want to say this to Vanessa. Vanessa, their embarrassment to we the Martinez. Yeah, so they are embarrassment to we the Martinez.
Okay.
Vanessa, yeah, they the one make it today. Came out not develop yet because of the kind of thing when they're doing.
All right, Chief. Thank you. We're talking about the ruling, the atmosphere today. Hello.
Hello, Sandro.
Well, your man, may your country develop, ain't develop. We ain't got nothing to do with that one. Yeah, you.
Yes, Andrew. I know that God will hear our prayer. Our little prayer that we pray for the country here because we get nowhere to run. As I said in the morning. So I know that the court will rule in favor of the law. But my fear is this is Rachel Kuhn, man that is greedy for power. He must be speaker. Whether you will agree,
that Rachel Kuhn country here? Or that Richard Kuhn house here? What you call whether you agree? Richard Kuhn above
what
anything
they
here?
can do, and what they can do, maybe
What
you
you
will say
can do?
no, then the police will come and go
Where?
defend him.
Why you raising the man moral, man? Sorry. You raising the man moral. I won't listen to you further, sir. What you call it man say no. Richard Kuhn get any right to say anything. No, you're afraid of Richard Kuhn. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Ando.
Let's hear you quick.
Yeah, Mr. Ando, hold on. Richard Kuhn, that for nothing. He passed a law. The way Shady is saying now, the way Shady is saying, one day he passed a law and he better will run away from this country and go to that coin. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Emmanuel Instrument General Ibrahim Cousin. We are taking 20 from THK2. Hello.
You on the air, Chief?
Yeah, let me say.
If you weren't on the air, you would give introduction.
You know, Richard Kuhn will submit to the law. I don't care why Richard Kuhn do. Richard Kuhn is not speaker. Richard Kuhn only there to speak. Richard Kuhn knows fully well that he will not end what going on. That's why he's using the Liberian people money to renovate his fund to make it bigger than any other thing with tenancy, but he free money. But promising that money will not be free. When the people come up with a final ruling, the Richard Kuhn want money, Liberian people will go to him and will take him up and disgrace him. Thank you.
Good. Have a nice midweek. Hello.
Yes, Sam.
Yes.
Thank you for the second segment of the show. Sam, this is Hussein Kew. I join you from Jacobstown. Sam, thank you for the lengthy discussions and the audio you play. I followed the argument today. But Sam, the both parties had excellent lawyers. Barry Sherman being your international lawyer.
I mean, we know all that one. Just go straight to the point, Chief.
Yeah, I'm going to the point. So I will expect the Supreme Court to do the needful. And what is the needful? To uphold the rule of law.
That your Richard Kuhn should pack his bag and get out because he's not speaker.
Sam,
but the needful in the law is Richard Kuhn is not speaker. Everybody knows. Richard Kuhn was not elected, nothing, Chief.
Yeah.
So be that thing.
No, I don't want the impression to come that Kew will have a side.
My man, tell the people that Richard Kuhn, our man Richard Kuhn is not a speaker. The law will rule against him because he's illegitimate.
So what I would say and simply say, I will expect the Supreme Court in that wisdom.
All right.
To do
Thank you, Chief.
What's the needful to rule in accordance with the principle doctrines of separation of power.
All right. What's separation of power? You get separation of power over there. You get separation of power. You give the speaker due process. Yeah, let's hear you.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you ever so much for the such an honor discussion. This is my people from Duluth and Lower Magibi. The same thing our teacher like in DC, there is a tomorrow. Vani Sharma supposed to know that he was contesting to become president, but what he did to the people that were making, he didn't even get a fair place. So all these people that are running around here that want to damage our country, there is a tomorrow for their children. History will remember them.
All right.
So we are going to pay them for what they are doing. The law is the law. Even in your bedroom, you and your wife, your guy agreement there. The two of you can lay your head one side. One person can put their head and the other person put their foot there. No.
All right, thank you. Keep playing the King's Cash giveaway. We're giving out 10,000 today. That midweek, that Wednesday, that Wednesday. Okay, let me bring on Teacher Light. I sure Teacher Light wants to make an input. No, he went off. I think AB wants to make an input as quickly as he can. Yes, but it's not. All right. So we'll try it. Hello? Cut off your radio, yeah? You are on the air, Chief. Oh, let's go this way. Okay. I think we have Council on. Hello? Yeah, Council. I guess you want to make an input.
Yeah, no, just call it. We got a lot to say tonight, but there's some things
I
that
know.
we don't say tonight because of time.
Yeah.
And I just want for us to thank our people for believing in the rule of law, for believing in the teachings. No matter what it is, thank God our Liberian people are now grabbed.
Hello? Hello? I think Abby went off. Hello? Okay. I think we get him back on. Yeah. Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, you just a 40 man call, one call you a pop and call. Let me tell you.
Yeah, another call was on. And you see, Abby went off too now. So sometimes it can be the network.
Okay, brother. This is Seattle Williams from the PhD community. They argue they see where they offer, but you can remember, they see where they get financial trade. You are in a hospital between Eddie and Georgia. The way you are taking trade, how you can take trade.
Okay.
Mark my word, you will take trade. The way you get people, he's sorry for himself. They will continue to get trade.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Richard Kun, you finish, oh. You finish. Richard Kun, let me tell you, Richard Kun, you finish. The guys made fun of you. At least you enjoy life at RLJ. From there, where again? Where you went? So you please name the places that they carry Richard Kun speaker. God, can't talk about his speaker. You show raw attitude. Yes. Yeah, Council, you back on.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying, concerning, sometimes when you listen to the argue of our people, especially those who believe in the rule of law and people who believe in the forward march of this country, you can really be proud that hope is certainly alive, and we are living that dream that our parents ever dream about. Though there will be difficulties associated with people who always want to be on the wrong side of history, you can't take them from there. And I think it was very important today with the court's rule, the argument that our prophet read on camera, and people saw that, which is very essential. And one key thing, Sam, that some people have been raising here and there is the issue about Vani Shemo. Vani Shemo is a lawyer. I suppose you know that lawyers will plead the way they can, no matter what it is. You got to put up defense for your clients. Do I know there are certain parts that I, as a lawyer, I will not have to take because I know exactly what it is. But I think Shemo did all he could. But Shemo really shot himself in the leg when he mentioned the issue of the justice minister's opinion. And this is where the Chief Justice was able to educate him that whatever opinion the Justice Minister has does not go beyond the scope of the executive. And that was very key. But I wonder, people who are talking about doctrine of separation of power or this, that, how then they took the executive opinion and took it to the Liberian Senate and they flying all around with it when they know they have separation of power.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The Justice Minister's scope only is restricted. His opinions are only restricted to the executive, the president. Not just any ordinary president, not even the vice president, the president. That's all. That's the Justice Minister's scope of work. His opinion. Anything you mention, such as opinion. Yes, he can render opinion, but your opinions are only restrictive to the president. But it is that same opinion that people took, the Senate took, that same opinion they're running with. Then the same people are claiming separation of power. The judiciary should not be able to interfere. But now you talk about executive opinion and you are relying on it flying around. I know sometimes you want to understand our people's rationale in pushing some of these things. And that was something I think I don't want to forget, but I will not be able to pass on it much tonight. But I think it's important for your show. I just to give this opinion, to give this statement.
So generally, as a seasoned lawyer, what do you pick up? What do you pick up from that entire hearing today in terms of the future? We got the final determination undisclosed. The Supreme Court did not set a specific date, but you can preempt where it will all end.
A lot of questionings. I think the toughest questions that ever came to the informants, meaning Councillor Kofa team, was the issue about them defining clearly what was that mandate that was given that was not adhered to, and they couldn't state it. And I think Arthur was more based on seeing their ruling, their judgment as a mandate, and what they were saying, what was that mandate? But again, later on in closing and prayer, Councillor Winkins Wright, the former Associate Justice of the Republic of Liberia, he nailed it. When he came up and said that your declaration is a mandate, it is an order that you give that anything you do, XYZ, that runs contrary to this is it. But again, the arguments that were proffered there today, you can sense clearly that the burden really shifted on Councillor Sherman or Richard Kuhn and the entire delegation there. I think the burden shifted on them to have answered questions that they couldn't answer, and you could see Councillor Sherman fumbling here and there, and he went forth using his senatorial. Now, he was using his senatorial appearance, his senatorial experience. And then he took his political experience to bring it to a legal question that is before the court. And that is where he really slipped. Because he was using the Senate as a precedent and saying that, look, in the Senate we have the president and we have the pro tem. Now the president is the presiding. When the president is not there, the pro tem can preside. Yes. And that's why the Chief Justice was quick to tell you, said that can only happen in coordination. If Jeremiah Kuhn is sitting in his office, before Nyoli Kanga Lawrence can preside, he has to go to Jeremiah Kuhn. Chief, it is now time for session. Are you in a position to come and preside? If Jeremiah Kuhn said, no, I will not be willing to preside, Kuhn can still be in that building and yeah, Nyoli Kanga Lawrence can preside. That is it. So, Sherman was looking for where to hold. Now, what I really thought of, and which of course was very essential, that would have helped them a lot if they have kept Thomas Fowler. Though it wouldn't have made more sense, but it would have made a little more sense to have kept Thomas Fowler there to be presiding in the wake of all the battle. Then we have seen some political nature in it. But where you took on the television speaker and you brought a new speaker in, that is where they killed the whole thing. And I think that is where everything went wrong.
Yeah.
From what we really sense for the line of questioning today. Yeah, that is where it really went wrong. They're supposed to have kept Thomas Fowler there. I think keeping Thomas Fowler there and just playing out politics will really play out, not to some substantial amount, but it will really help them in their argument today. But from what we can preempt from your question, I think all can know exactly what it is that the court itself is embarrassed. You listen to the Chief Justice, she was really angry at a certain point in time when even Sherman mentioned the issue about the Supreme Court and said that the problem you're causing for all these people is sorting out all over the place. She was very angry. You could see her coming out to say, look, we have suffered a lot as a result of the condoms that you're carrying on down there. You are making people to look at us ugly. So she even said that she was even requesting for security and all for each one of those people, because this is where they have brought them to public ridicule and their lives are no longer safe. They kind of threats against them. So that's why she was saying all of that. So you can preempt that things may not go and are likely poised not to go Kuhn's way, and I think he has to look for other options. But again, the fear there is whether you will give in.
Now, given what you just mentioned, which is very key, that the Chief Justice will call for security herself and her colleagues, that could some way alter their final determination to say, okay, this atmosphere, our security come first. If we rule against this person or Kuhn in accordance with the law, we might have this, we might have that, we have our families. So that could alter the decision. Isn't that significant too?
Yeah, that decision could go both ways. But again, I think she was more in an angry tone addressing that issue about how they had been insulted, denigrated, and people calling. And of course, she defined the word chaos. Councillor Sherman was trying to play with the issue of chaos and said the house had not been chaotic. And she was coming out to define chaos. She said, when you see the whole world media, people are condemning us all over. You don't call that chaos? When you see people going to bash into people's cars on broad camera, you don't call that chaos? When you see people calling renowned associate justices' opinions that they render or statements they made, they calling it liquor toy, insulting them. You don't call that chaos? I think for the last couple of times, that sense and the code has sense in itself that going ahead now, they have to answer to everything that we already need because chaos is what they have seen for themselves adapting. That's why they have given much attention now to the bit of information, and that's what we saw today.
All right. Thank you so much for that input, AB.
You're most welcome.
All right, that's a Liberian lawyer and host of the show Face the Issues, A.B. Weah, giving his input on what unfolded today at the Supreme Court of Liberia with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor J. Fonatikofa, Bill of Information hearing. He's on at it this evening. You don't want to miss it. Get set. He is well versed, well schooled legally, so you have a complete tutorial of everything that unfolded today, and you know what to say when you are in the public with people, especially those who will want to mislead you from the majority bloc. That will be at 8 this evening. Face the Issues when he's on. So let's go now. Let's take just few calls. Thank you. We're still holding on, calling while AB was on the line. Thank you for exercising the patience. We'll just take just few, and then we out. But let's read some of the comments. Those of you who have written, Josephine Yema. Josephine Yeman says City Hall Speaker Richard Cohn. Philip Nangwe said Cohn will be booted out and then impeached afterwards. Gabriel Mann said Cohn and Fala are out. Sources close to Fala informing that he attempted suicide twice, but they're keeping eyes on him religiously. Louis Newberry said Thomas Fala should be impeached too. Charles M. Dolobapu. Okay. Paris Lobot say all those so-called journalists that behind the reckless so-called majority bloc, all of you will be disappointed. Yeah, calling the man. Yeah, we are all colleagues, but you just want to be literally honest. You know the man is not speaker. Then you're writing in your newspaper calling the man speaker. You go on radio calling the man speaker, and you know that the matter, the man's position is in contention legally. And it's so interesting. Watch it. They were referred to Fonatikova as in battle. And then they refer to Richard Cohn as speaker. The video is interesting in this country. The word in battle should be used on Richard Cohn. Richard Cohn is the in battle. Cohn is the in battle. Kova is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The law is clear. Patrick Afre Weah say, congratulations to Councillor Jonathan Fonatikofa. You have made my day. And Andrew J. Johnson said Vanning Shema needs some money in his pocket. Paris Lover say the loose ground. Yeah. Roland Cooper. It says she really put him in his place. Okay, you're referring to the Chief Justice bill or the description that AB gave. Yeah, okay, yeah, the Chief Justice really put Vanning Shema in his place. He left frustrated. Okay, thank you all. You did extremely well to spice up the show. I wanted to talk about this, but it will be tomorrow. Yeah, this is, we should not overlook it. We have to protect our president, whatever they want to do to our president. We will not allow it to happen. We disagree with President Bouakai. on the issues, but he is our leader. We have every right and obligation to protect him. We want him to move on to 2029 and turn over power peacefully, alive. We don't want to have any former president. We already have 2 former presidents, so we want to have 3. Those of you wishing the president's death, you might go before him. The time wasn't there to talk about this. We will give it little attention by tomorrow, if God permits.
Believing to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. Believing to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. The presidency believing to put more pressure on the old man so that he can give her the goals and then they will assume criminally the democratically elected seat of our republic, that is the presidency. The presidency of this republic has been desecrated, and I'm hoping that will not continue in our vein. But I can say to anybody, it is our prayers that President Baka will go beyond 2029, and even 2039, he will go beyond that. It is our prayers and hope that the Almighty God will keep him, because they are agents. There are demons at the doors of this country that are willing to put this country back into a bloodshed. The only hope we have is God to protect the life of Joseph Boakai until he can save the term power in 2029, which I know he will do honorably. So that is why I thought to encourage every one of us and to encourage members of the Supreme Court.
Thank you so much. Well, this is how we go home on the show, Real Talk on Kings 88.5. The news is on at 6, King's Newsroom. You don't want to miss it at 6 o'clock. And then at 8, Face the Issues with A.B. Weah, Teacher Light. You want to spread the show when it starts everywhere. Just get the show. Once you get it, those of you who will be following online, you share it, spread it all over. It's going to be another fascinating one tonight. You don't want to miss it. We're back tomorrow, if God permits. Thank you ever so much for spicing up the show. I'm Sam Andrews.
Kings 88.5.
Kings 88.5 FM.
We got the flavor. Kings 88.5 FM.
The beat. We got the streets. Hip hop and R&B.